Man, can somebody fill me in? What happened on the, what was Tomac's, did Tomac have an explanation? I didn't get to watch the end of the, I didn't get to watch the end of his interview, but what a night. Yeah, Muppet, what a night. I will say, can I just say, no, he didn't say anything. Okay, Jarrett. I hate Triple Crowns. Can I just say I hate Triple Crowns? And you might say, what do you mean? What do you mean? That was incredible. It went down to the wire. But I was so bored up until the last of the 3 races, which felt that's similar to how normal races go, except at least you have the pressure of the heats and LCQs and stuff. And I used to think this was just in fantasy, but it's not. I think Triple Crowns produces some of the best racing moments in terms of specific moments in the races, but as far as the entire night goes, I would much rather have a traditional format where there's consequences in every single race that happens. Because I can't even get excited. Like, I wish that you could be like, oh yeah, so-and-so won the first race, they're doing so good, because it doesn't matter, because they could mess up and suck. And then same thing could happen. You could have, you know, Hunter or Eli or somebody go down in the first one, and you could be like, oh, that's going to shake up the title fight, but it's not, because they'll probably just win the next 2, and then it'll all be equalized. It just literally doesn't matter. So, like, you might say, but that last main was incredible. That main would have been just as incredible. It would have been even more incredible if it was a regular format. If Sexton crashes while leading, and then Tomac crashes while leading, and then he ended up getting, what, 5th or 6th? That would have meant Cooper has the red plate, Sexton right behind him, and Tomac in 3rd in the points, and that would have been even better. So I will get off my horse. I'll get off my rant. I don't know, man. We've had 5 years for the Triple Crowns, and I know they're a nice little mix-up, but for me, I just wasn't excited like the whole night. You guys probably noticed I really wasn't on Twitter or nothing. So I don't know. It just wasn't for me. Doug says, am I in the minority of liking? No, I love semis. Give me the semis, Doug. I want the semis back 100%. Sexton threw it away twice. Yeah, take a shot every time Sexton throws it away twice. What happens more in an average night of Supercross? Sexton throwing it away, or Todd Harris saying something that makes literally no sense at all? Did he call Chase, what was it, the speed merchant? Tell me he said speed merchant. I swear he said speed merchant. And I don't even know what that means. I don't know what that means. Racer987 said, oh, let me go back up. Deegan still has a way to go. This is what I was expecting, Racer. I was expecting this round from Deegan of just having kind of some rookie mistakes. He had some little mistakes. It happens. He, normally he doesn't ride this much in a normal night. What is it? 30 minutes plus 3, essentially. That's a lot of main event level riding. He's a rookie. He's going to make mistakes. Sexton is all class. He is, Chris. He is, though. He is. The throwaway king. Oh, no. Dylan said we would end up trash if we took a shot every time Chase tucked the front and threw it away. Who's worse, him, AC, or Marty? What's the worst there? Jordan Martin. You know what? So, oh my God, Racer. Yeah, every time RC goes, and then doesn't tell us what he's going on about. So, I watch the race with Roto Wife every night, and tonight in particular, she was like, "This is bad. This is so bad. Like even Ricky feels bad." And I'm like, you know what? Ricky's not killing it in the broadcast booth. He's fine. Nothing against him, but like he's not the best we've ever had. But I will say, I think Todd brings out the worst in him, and I don't know if it's just he and Todd specifically don't have any chemistry at all, or if it's more they just randomly throw Todd in once or twice a year. So, he's so used to having Lee and Blair, and he can build up rapport with those, but then they just randomly throw Todd in, and he's got to like figure out a way to make it work, and it just doesn't work. You know what I mean? Vic said, oh my God. Vic said RC cheats by looking over the production screen. He's admitted it. My biggest thing is that RC, he does the one was, he said, they were like, Tom Viala is doing something, and Ricky said, I love this kid's story. And then the wife was like, what's his story? You can't just say you gotta love this kid's story and then not deliver the story. You gotta tell us the story, because it wasn't like he said that and then immediately like something happened on screen that changed his mind. He just like trailed off, and yeah, I don't know, just one of those. Sweet night of racing. Anthony really was. Our T Anthony really was. It was a good night. It was a good night. The way RC says slippery is comical. It is, and it is. It'll be exciting to see. It'll be exciting to see Bubba and RC in the booth next week. Apparently that's what's going on at Daytona. I will say I'm a little worried because drunken people on Twitter talks about this a lot. It's never a great idea to have two color commentators in the booth. Like, there's a reason that the Ralph, the Lee, whatever, the guy that nails the play-by-play, and then having the former champion, but having two guys that are color commentators, it's going to be hard because they're going to go on a lot of long anecdotal stories, and that's not good for the broadcast, but it'll be fun to hear them banter either way. You know what I mean? Dylan said RC was so amazing as a racer to watch, but his commentary shows that he was just a racer. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's just not for everybody. You know what I mean? Like, Zacho gave it a shot last year and he did fine, but he definitely was nervous, and it's hard. I would love the opportunity to do that someday, but I also can't imagine how much pressure it is. It would be rough. You won't know until it happens. Does that make sense? Dirty Al said, thoughts on Gangbang 2. Was it a cross jump by Thrasher? I need to watch it back because I'm not sure. I had a phone call come in during the second 250 main. So like there was parts that I didn't quite get to pay as much attention to as I normally would. So I'm not gonna say anything till I can like watch it again, kind of thing. No more of a cross jump than anyone else did all night. That's fair. What was your fantasy result? I didn't do great. I missed both FFLs, which was really disappointing. And other than that, my team was fine, but missing both FFLs really cost me 238. I talked myself out of Eli. I went with Chase. I talked myself out of Eli. I was like, go Eli, long start straight, triple crowns. He's always good at these. And I don't know why. I just went with the look. Chase has 3 this year out of 6. Go Chase, and I was wrong. So yeah, Ekman Bailey I think is all time. I agree, BD Caller. Ekman Bailey was good, and I just want Dave Despain to do anything ever. Just give me Dave Despain voice. Just put it directly into my ear. Harper, dude, it's good to see you. My 450 team crushed. 250 Shock was let down. I was saving Shock for Daytona. He was never my radar. I definitely wanted him for the outdoor. Did the lapper ruin Chase's race? Yes and no, Dylan. Yes, but not like Dean did to Roczen the other year. It obviously wasn't ideal. Was that Harlan? I think it was Harlan. He had nowhere to go. That's the worst part about being... I mean, I've never been a lapper, but you know what I mean? That's not true. I've never been in a lapper in a situation like this. Let's go that. There's no good answer to do in that section, and that's where I think lappers, I'm not one of the people that thinks that lappers should be removed from the track or anything like that, but lappers, it plays so much into what section you come up to the lapper in, and that's the worst. Like Thrasher was lapping Hicks when he went down on the whoops. If he would have caught Hicks anywhere else, maybe he doesn't go down there, because he definitely was getting close to that side and Hicks was there. So maybe him changing direction could have possibly thrown him off and caused that crash. But anyway, said that to say this. If Sexton catches Harlan any other part of the track, but that spot where you have the bull turn and then the flat into the next little slow bull turn across the start straight, there was just really no good place for Grant to be. He just stayed his line, and it just sucked that Chase just didn't have a good way to get around him. You know what I mean? So that's always the, on the other side, let's not go the route of, did the lapper cause Chase the race? Let's go on the other side of, does anybody benefit more from ill-timed lappers than Cooper Webb? And not just tonight. Like, Cooper Webb has multiple times benefited from being in the right place at the right time when a lapper appeared in front of the person. And it's not to say that he didn't earn it, or that Cooper isn't this, but like Cooper generally gets the advantage in lapper situations, and it feels like the other guys are not. You know what I mean? Michael said it helped Coop, but I think he had it either way. That's fair. And I mean, to be fair, Chase hung right there with him, so I think it would have been a really good dogfight. It's just a shame that we kind of got robbed of that. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been nice to know if Sexton could have held off Webb, because last week Sexton held off Webb, or was that 2 weeks ago? I don't even remember now. Sexton held off Webb for the entire main until he fell at the very, very end. And I don't know, I would have loved to see if he could do it again. That would have been cool. I Lucky Number said Lawrence, Anstey, Thrasher, Smith, and Mosman all going down was great. It really was, yeah. It was a really, really exciting 250 main event for sure. Yeah, I can't believe J-Mart snuck away with a gangbang win. What do we call those? I hate it because I know Steve was joking when he called them gangbangs for the first time, but we literally need a name for them, because the longer the Supercross goes without naming the individual races of the Triple Crown, the longer we're going to keep calling them gangbangs, because no other word fits. I wish I could just call them motos, but then I'll have some idiot in the comments being like, they're not motos. Motos are outdoor motocross. It's Supercross. Like, I don't know what we call them. Like, it's gangbangs. It's what it is. It's what it is. They're called mains. It's not the same. JB, we can't call them mains until AMA starts treating them like mains for stat purposes. They don't count for race wins. They don't count for laps led. They don't count in the average finish and the AMA results that print out on the sheet. They literally don't count for anything, so we can't call them mains until they do. They need a name. I like sprints. I do like sprints. Let's go sprints. But that's not what they're calling them, so whatever it is. Ronald said Eli always goes backwards when he washes the front end. He never charges back. I mean, that's valid. That's valid. I just, again, it's hard for me to sit there and break it down because I've never been in that situation. You know, these guys, like, by the time Eli crashed, they had ridden 30-some minutes at a main event race pace. So you don't know what it's like. You don't know what the fatigue is like. I can't comment on it because I haven't been there. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely not solid for sure. I don't think it's a fold. I don't think we're there yet. Especially because you know what? Ask me again next week. Because Eli at Daytona will be the tell if Eli is in the fold or not. There's no reason to hit the panic button because Eli had one weirdo race, and let's be honest, he still podiumed. And maybe his mechanic had on the pit board like, "Yo, you just have to get 7th, man. Like, no pressure behind you," because Anderson got 8th in one of the sprints, as we call them around here. So, yeah, I don't know. So maybe maybe he had no reason to push and pass. He could have got 3rd and it wouldn't have mattered. You know what I mean? Still in the head of... I hate it, though, because the only thing I really want to win this year is the experts and the lead pipe locks. But my lead pipe lock this week was AC, and that obviously didn't go well for me because he didn't even show up. No, JT's got me in the experts league, but I'm still in 2nd. Eli wanted A1 after washing the front. No, Casual, I think he just meant that, is this the beginning of the whatever? And I disagree, but we'll see. Any news on the rider that got ran over? Hardy Munoz was the one that got drilled, and he walked off, but I haven't seen anything since yet, no. How about no Triple Crowns and the 3 SMX championships? You know what, Dutch? I'm in on that. I wouldn't hate that at all. Take the Triple Crowns and repurpose them, put them in the end of the year. For the record... from Marks, 10,922 people picked an FFL in the 250 class. 9,159 of them got it right. So that's a huge percentage, 84%. 11,000, even more people picked 450, but only 1,700 got it right, 16%. We had 10,481 championship teams. Perfect team was 280, plus FFLs makes you 310. Do you guys want to take a guess of what percentage of teams did not have 8 people in the main? Take a guess. It's higher than you think it is. Take a guess. Harriman had a pretty gnarly injury. I saw that in the early thing. For the pre-show, Tib Fib maybe? 16%. 16%. Cacti got it right. 16 people missed. Didn't have everybody in the main. Had to be AC, right? Had to be AC. Yeah, Doglo, or I'm sorry, yeah, Zaphod, another underwhelming night for Mosman. At what point, real question, and I'm not being critical on these guys, but like at what point do we move on from? There are a few riders that have been on that team for a long time. Mosman is one of them. Like Mosman has been, I know he came from the KTM side over to Gas when they found it, but I'm gonna kind of keep that staying on the same team because he just got transferred over more or less because KTM kind of did away with their thing. When is it time to move on from Mosman? When is it time to move on from Hampshire? When is it time to move on from Faulkner? Like, those guys have all kind of been right at that level of they're not quite there. They're not going to get, because by the time that, you know, so let's say Jet leaves, obviously, because he has to. Let's say Hunter leaves next year, right? Do you really think RJ and Mosman are going to be the guys that step up to win the title? Or are they going to get passed by somebody else like Thrasher? I feel like Thrasher at this point for me is above those guys because, I mean, like he showed it tonight. There's just, I don't know, I don't want to say like take their jobs or anything, but it just, at what point do we try something else? Same with like Swole. At what point do we try something else? Because obviously Talon Hawkins is in, and then Casey Cochran is 16 years old and looks incredibly great. So, you know, those guys gotta know, like, it's getting tight, you know what I mean? Kitchen reference, that's a good point. Yeah, Kitchen, Styles, Robert. Now, to be fair, that's all on the Yamaha. You know what? They don't have to worry about it because every time Rockstar or any of those other teams get somebody good, Star Yamaha just snatches them up and they don't have to worry about it. Yeah, Bennett, well, again, Bennett's on the Star, man. It's all Star. It's literally all Star. I also think that it's already really cutthroat if you're hurt. No, you're right, AM, you're right. Dutch said they're also talented yet injury mistake prone. And that's the thing, Dutch, is that I feel like a lot of the teams keep them around because, but what if they don't get hurt though? Like, I think Jordan Smith was the same thing for so many years. Jeremy Martin was the same thing for so many years of like, man, if they could just put it together, they would get it together. But will they ever get it together? You know what I mean? It just hurts to watch. There was a point where Anderson almost jumped off the track tonight. I don't know if you guys caught it. I think it was in the third. It was either in the second or the third race. He went over the triple and he landed to the left and he almost hit a tough block, but he just barely dodged it. And I was wondering, like, how many times a night do you think those guys have an almost and we just don't see it? Because it's easy for us to look at these guys and be like, man, the difference between RJ, Mosman and those, and say Jet, Hunter, etc., Justin Cooper, Colt Nichols, is that these guys crash where these guys don't. Are they just luckier? Or are they better at saving it? You know, like, I don't know. Zaphod said, why can't some guys figure it out? Just not smart enough? Mine doesn't work fast enough. Zaphod, and again, I don't have the pedigree of racing for this, but I just feel like the difference is knowing your limit and then putting it down a little bit. Do any of you guys do this? Because like as I get older, I find more often that I don't know my limits, and I think I can do more than I actually can, kind of thing. So they need to know this is my limit, and they need to be able to keep it right here. And I feel like too many of them, they don't. They just keep pushing. They push instead of knowing when, like, look, man, you just gotta wrap it up a little bit. Like, take the 7th even. You know what I mean? Can Roczen win one before Jason? No. I say no. If anything, reading, Jason now has 2 Triple Crown wins. At least he has that. Ken doesn't even have one yet. He does have a heat race win. Also being able to tuck and roll when you, oh, for sure, Dirty Al. Like, I went snowboarding the other day. I went snowboarding for the second time. First time was like 2 weeks ago. Second time, was on Friday, yesterday, I guess. And if there's anything I learned from my young days of skating and moto and everything, it's how to fall. And there were so many times when I fell and I literally rolled through it and I was standing again. Do any of you guys do this? Is this a racer thing or an embarrassment thing? I'm already back on my feet before I've even processed if I'm injured or not. And I feel like that's a racing thing, if you guys know what I'm talking about. Because racing, your first thought is get up, get back to the bike. You don't even take time to like process how your body might be doing. You're just like, I got to go. They're coming, kind of thing. Remember when the hot word was red zone racing? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Vic said the experts actually had expert level scores this weekend. To be fair, Vic, it was easy because we all had practically the same team. I saw that. It's adrenaline for sure. Pick up the bike. Pick up the bike. It's from our dads, right? Coffee said something just seems off with the whole HEP. I feel like their riders, Roczen, Marsh, Chiz, are below where they've been. I disagree a little bit, Coffee. You're not wrong, but I think that it's causation is not related to correlation kind of thing. Roczen isn't where he was, but technically at this point in the series, he's doing better now than he did last year with Honda, other than the win, obviously, but like points-wise, he's doing better. Chiz is going to have that fall off. Remember when Chad was like podiuming with factory Yamaha, and then literally out of nowhere, he was like LCQs? It took 1 year for him to go from podium to LCQs once he got into his 30s. Well into his 30s. I'm sorry, late 30s. And Chiz, you're just going to have that point where his guile and his racecraft just isn't going to be enough to carry his aging body and his declining skills. You know what I mean? We see this in every sport, and maybe he's just getting to that point where that isn't happening, especially because he's not, how do I word it? This year, we haven't seen as many injuries and stuff. Like, the field is thick in the middle than it's ever been, and the top also isn't thinning out as much as it has. You know what I mean? They're not power limited. That's not a good argument. I don't know. The HEP, you mean? Is the Cowie holding Anderson back? Nah, Racer. I'd say no, because he won, what, like 7 main events last year? He won a lot. 6 or 7 main events last year. So I would say no. And then also with Marsh, like, I expect more out of Welton, but maybe this is just where he's at. I don't know. Like, last year he had a couple good Supercross rides, but he's definitely not a Supercross guy. I would be more concerned once Welton gets outdoors if he doesn't perform like he did last year, because he was on the Suzuki last year for the second half of the season as a fill-in, and he seemed like he was about the same as before he was on the Suzuki. I think that'll be a better help, but we won't know that until later. I know Chad got the podium, but I mean, like, he literally was a factory guy with, like, making, like, he was a threat to podium. He was a threat to be up there, and then just out of nowhere, it just felt like he just hit that wall of being a, you know, I mean, LCQ, it was sad. It was sad. I went to St. Louis in 2020, the year that he was, like, in a bunch of LCQs, and I could just tell, I knew he was going to pull off, and it just sucked, because I was like, dude, he's not having fun. Like, out there in 19th place, battling with, you know, and with all due respect to these guys, but, like, Chad Reed does not want to, as much as he loves the race, he doesn't want to be out there battling Kevin Moran's and Logan Carnow for 19th place. You know what I mean? That's not where he's at. He doesn't want to be getting lapped on the 8th lap kind of thing. So it was hard to watch, is what I'm trying to say. Weldon's coming back from a knee surgery. He is, yeah. I knew that, Ryan, but I hate it because they don't talk about it. So, like, how bad though, you know? Because to be fair, Thrasher also has a knee injury apparently right now, and he's still out there just putting them together, you know? What happened to Savachi? They showed it on the broadcast, but I didn't get to see. They showed it before the start of the second race. I noticed because I told, I was on the phone still at the point, but I just said, I was like, gate's empty. The inside gate's empty. Because I didn't know who was missing, but that way we could watch for it. Do you think Marvin is officially retired now? Aaron, I don't know, because where does he go? Who does he ride for? I don't think he comes back for Supercross at any capacity. And he doesn't have a right outdoor. He did get to fill in a little bit last year. He would probably be the first guy called to fill in. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Looked like Rizzy. Yeah, Dutch, I was going to say he was holding, but he was cradling, I should say. He was definitely cradling, but I couldn't see what. Joey crashed on the last live. Gotcha. That's true. World Supercross. That is true. He would be incredible at World Supercross. Is Coop racing outdoors? That is the word. He is racing outdoors as of now. That's the plan anyway. So we'll see. Think he would do SMX? Yeah, he'd have to qualify. All he has to do is get what, like top 40 in points to make the LCQ or whatever, which he might be able to do that pretty easily anyway, but we'll see. How are pulp points calculated? Oh, dog lover. I have a whole video on that on the Pulp channel. If you go to the Pulp Fantasy and scroll down to how to play video on the front page, it explains how to do it. It's a little long-winded, I think, for this format. Thrasher done for motocross most likely. Does Bennett get the call up? I'm gonna say no because they already have a pretty loaded thing. They've got J Mart, Jordan Smith, Kitchen Styles, and Deegan right now. So like probably not. Maybe, but probably not. Let's talk about that first turn crash in 250 Gangbang 3. Yama Boys came over hard on Hunter. Yeah, Zappa, yeah. No, to be fair, though, I don't know if... I'm not saying that it wasn't on purpose, but... I think it's hard to do a deliberate like that. It's just so chaotic. It's the same way that people were critical about Faulkner, like it was somehow his fault when he wrecked at A1. All of that stuff, it's easy for us to watch it back and again and again and again and watch it in slow-mo, etc., and then break it down from there. But like when you're in the moment, it all happens in like 0.2 seconds. It's so incredibly difficult to process that. So I can't tell you that it's not because it wouldn't surprise me, but I don't think anything ill on first glance, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? What do you think of my judge commentary? I was on the phone, so I missed like most, if not all of his. Was he good? Was it bad? I can't be much worse than Todd and Ricky by themselves. Leadhead said nothing wrong with Cowie. Ando just isn't riding as good as last year. He had as many wins as the champ last year and only lost because of Barshitsu. I mean, you're not, well, to be fair, yeah, but he also lost because he DNF'd in Detroit and got 1 point. He lost because of himself there. If he doesn't get that, if he doesn't wreck himself out of Detroit, he makes Eli race in SLC and at least comes down to the wire, but we'll never know. Jet's commentary was rough. Well, good thing he is a child. Good thing that he does something else. Yo, Jess, hi. Well, hello, Roto. I haven't been able to comment in a while. Go Rotoheads. Rotoheads, that's right. We have a name now. He was pretty good, I thought, but no one beats Weege. Oh, I love Weege. I love Weege so much. I don't like to talk about the DNF. I was there. That was the first race I ever got to watch from the press box, was that one. And holy, and what's funny is apparently the press box used to be full. Like the whole thing was full, but from when 2020 happened and the season got, got handled the way it did, and then they had the residency, apparently a lot of the media people realized they don't actually need to go to the races to do their jobs. They can do it from home. So when my first experience being in the booth was in Detroit, and nobody went to Detroit, like nobody went. It was literally like me, Kellen, and like one other person that I didn't know was the whole booth. Oh, and Steve and Pulp. No Weege, no nothing. And it was just wild watching all that carnage from up top, being able to see the whole track and seeing everybody wreck. It was wild. Because that was also when Ferrandis wrecked that night too. Zaffo said Blos looked like a tank on that cow. He did well tonight, right? Blos did? Well, I mean, I say well. He did much better than he had been doing. That's the thing that I hate about the Triple Crowns, is that it's hard to keep up on who got what. I guess Blos only got 9th. Wow, it looked like he was doing better than that. I thought he did better than 9th. Also, Ando starting unnecessary drama didn't help last year, which even as a fan of him is tough. It's fair, and he did it worse here. Blows was 7. That's what I thought, Coffee. I thought he got like 7th or 8th in every moto, but hey, it's like Phil that one time where he got 777 for 9th overall or whatever it was. Not everybody has the luck. Congratulations, you've been busy. Proud of you. Jess, I appreciate it. It's been really cool. It's been really cool. I actually talked to Davey Coombs today on the phone. He called me just to check in. And just super nice guy. Like, I've been having so much fun working with Pulp and Racer X. Both of them have been really just welcoming and cool. And I don't know. I don't know what it's like anywhere else in the industry because I don't have any of that experience. But I feel very fortunate to have gotten my first 2 gigs with Pulp and with Racer X because it's been just like super cool to work with. Zaffin said Vial looking really good for such a small amount of time. Really though, for real, I think he's gonna be incredible outdoors. Like I think he's gonna be a dark horse for the title. Like I'm not picking him for the title, but like I think he's gonna be a dark horse for the title. I really think he could compete for it. You know, we can't all be Steve and go 14-9 for 7th overall. I love it. I know I have people that live above me. I'm still at that level of moto money where I have people above me, people below me, people on that side, people on this side. So we'll get there when it's time. Who do you pick for the title? Which title? Which title? Tell me which title. We love your videos. I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it, you guys. I always like the Yamaha colors they mix in with the graphics. Can we just say, I mean this in the nicest way. Does Eli have no sense of style? Not because of how he dresses casually, but it feels like we've got Chase, Jet, Hunter, Anderson, Jace, Jet, Hunter, Anderson, and Eli all ride Alpine Star. Full gear, right? Chase and both of the Lawrences have incredible kits every night, and it feels like they actually help design their kits. Like every kit they wears feels like it fits their personality. Does that make sense? But Eli just feels like he just wears whatever Alpine Star tells him to wear. Like the kit tonight, I was like, that's just an Alpine Star kit. It just didn't. There was nothing cool about it. It just was. Meh. You know what I mean? And it's whatever. And not everybody cares. I'm into color coordination and cool colors and everything like that. So like I'm interested in it, but maybe not everybody else. I just look at it and I'm like, I don't understand why Eli doesn't have cooler kits. Why doesn't Eli have any cooler kits? The other guys have way cooler kits. The doubles, yeah. What about the Hill Bros? Man, killing it. I had both of them on my team early and I took them off. Just to go with safer picks, and man, they absolutely crushed it. Josh got 36, 13th overall, and Justin Hill 10th overall, baby. What a guy. Good for him. The title. Well, I was saying because we were talking about the 250 title, so I didn't want to be like, is that what we're talking about? Reading said, does Justin Cooper have a 450 outdoor ride? No, because he was always riding 250s. Reading. He's actually going to go back on the 250 class for outdoor to compete with Hunter for the title. Matt said, I like Kenny's yellow and yellow tonight. Did his kit not feel like an old kit? I don't know if I got to see it close up, but looking at it while he was racing, just it looked a little baggier, and the way the colors were cut, it gave me more of that like mid-2000s vibe. I'll have to see it again once I get the photos from a line. He gets the leftovers. He might. Yeah, Alpine Stars. Put this on. He's like, I don't care, man. I don't care. Chris said, good night. Come to Revelstoke boarding sometime. One of the best mountains in North America. Chris, where is that? Give me a ballpark. Give me a ballpark where it is, because I would love to. He gets the leftovers, yeah. And again, I could get it. He's like, yeah, I don't care. I don't care. Are any of you guys, I don't know how much they're going to cost, but I don't know if you saw, but Jet and Alpine Stars are actually releasing, finally, somebody listened, and it's Jet, sublimated jersey. So if you want a Jet jersey, you can have a number 18 Jet jersey to wear. Are you interested in something like that? And if you are, which riders and how much would you pay? Like, what is your top of the line dollar amount? What would you pay for a Like, not signed, not race worn, just a, like this. Like, you know, this is a official. This is an official jersey. Like, you could, like, what would you pay for that? You know what I mean? $20. Jake, you stop it right now. You can't even go get a clearance. You can't even go get an AXO jersey for $20. Yeah, a replica, yeah. I will point and laugh if I see somebody walking around in a Jet jersey. Jared, that's not nice. That's not nice. Mookie in 130, 125, 300, 54.99. These are all over the place. Y'all are all over the place about Tree Fitty. With that being said, would you guys be in on t-shirts that were like a low-key replica of the jersey? So let's say, for example, we'll just use Jet for an example because I don't want to like, we're already talking about it. But like, that yellow gear, the yellow and pink gear he wore, right? Because I thought that colorway was really sick. But it's just a yellow t-shirt with like the pink Alpine stars, and then it has like a couple of the like, you know, 100%, like a couple of just the little things on it, and then the back has the 18 that says Florence. Like, would you guys do like 30, 40 bucks for a t-shirt like that? I don't know why they don't just do that, because I would absolutely pay like $40 for that t-shirt to just have like their name and number on the back and like a couple of their little things on the front. It would be so easy. 30 bucks. Yeah, 30 bucks, man. Give it to me. Give it to me. Dutch, I'm the same way. I'm not a jersey guy. Like, I get jerseys. I feel very blessed to get jerseys to give away to you guys, but I remember when I got my first jersey and I was like, oh, what am I going to do with this? And then I was like, I'm going to give it away because I just don't like wearing jerseys unless I'm like actually riding. You know what I mean? Younger kids would be all over for $49.95, right? Right? 100 to 130 for jerseys, no on the t-shirts. You know, that's a good point. That's a good point. Major sports jerseys are 100 to 150, so MX should be the same. I agree. Yeah, like I can go get enough, like it's a replica, but you know, a Mariners jersey, like a nice button-up Mariners jersey that's the same quality for like that. So yeah, I'm with you. I'd rather wear a mechanic shirt than a jersey. Same. Hey, I don't know what sizes they have, but I thought about getting one. Iron Pony in Columbus, Ohio, is like a big motorsports store, but they get a bunch of clearance type stuff that they buy out. They have a Geico Honda pit shirt, like the pit mechanics button, you know, like 3-button. And I'm like, oh man, it's a little too expensive. Like even on clearance, it's a little too expensive. It's like 30, 40 bucks or something. But I'm like, on one hand, that's a really cool thing to have. But on the other hand, I don't want to support Geico because they pulled out of our sport and they caused a team to close down. So I'm like a little torn on it, you know what I mean? But people who wear jerseys when not on the track. That's cute. I remember my first bike. Yeah. No, you're right though. I hate when it reminds me of if you go to a baseball game. Like we have a minor league team in Columbus, the Clippers, and there will just be people everywhere wearing any baseball jersey they have, like literally any. And I'm like, why are you wearing a Boston Red Sox jersey to a minor league game between the Cleveland affiliate and the Pittsburgh affiliate? They just grabbed whatever baseball thing they have. It reminds me of that, of the people when you go to Supercross and you see people wearing like their own jersey. And I'm like, did you have to put on a moto shirt to come to the moto event? Because I don't know if you have to, but you do you, buddy. Whatever makes you feel good. If I was A-Stars, I'd release 25 sets of matching gear night of the race and make them. Yes, Chris, that'd be incredible. I did do it. I'll let you know how it goes on Monday. That's when I'm getting them. I got one of the Antisocial Social Club Jet shirts because I just really like the colorway, and I've never had something like that. So it was like $60, which I felt really guilty about, but that's how much people charge for t-shirts now. So I'll let you guys know if it's good quality or if it's worth looking at. Barsha did a sick endo. Wish there was a better video. What, Zaphod, was it not him going over the berm after the whoops, right? Where did he do, when did he do the endo? 100%. We know already that you're a fan. Who's going to some races coming up soon? Am I going to see any of you guys? I'm going to Indy, Detroit, and Nashville for sure. I want to do either Glendale, or Denver, and I might hit Salt Lake. Love what Bell's doing with replicas for sure. I'll be in Detroit. AMFK, let me know. We'll be there. Jess, I kind of want to go to Seattle. I obviously kind of want to go to Seattle. So I just feel like I don't know if it's a good idea for me to go to Indy and then Detroit and then Seattle, like back to back to back. It sucks that it's right there. It's just not a smart monetary investment for me to travel 3 weekends in a row. I went to Oakland, gonna hit Pal and Hangtown and hopefully one SMX round. I will be going to some outdoors. I already got confirmation from Davey Coombs. I don't know if I'm gonna be working with Racer X through the outdoor series. We haven't talked that far yet, but he did assure me that no matter what, I will have a hard card, which is the pass that gives me access. Like normally when I go and I just get a week, they'll give me a wristband, but I'll have a hard card with my name on it that I can go to all the races, no matter what, so that'll be cool. We have a show in your travel days. Jess, it depends. I tried it last year at Indy and it did not work. I tried it at St. Louis and it did work, but I don't think Supercross was stoked about me going live in the back of the stadium. Feld is really weird about stuff like that. Like they don't want you to see behind the curtain. They don't want you to see behind the magic of them tearing stuff down. I don't know. It is what it is. So if they give me a stern talking to, unfortunately, now that I'm like official media because I'm working with Pulp and Racer X and stuff, I'm gonna have to be a little bit more receptive to what they want me to do. If that makes sense. Not Racer X, but like if Feld doesn't want me to do anything, it is in my best interest to not push back because I want to keep getting access to this so I can keep doing stuff like this for you guys and doing cooler stuff. But if they don't care, I'll do anything, man. This is fun. Sell out. I know. Sell out for me. Hit me up to chill in Nashville. Dirty out. I definitely want to go to Nashville for sure. So I will let you know. Hey, if anybody wants sell out, I'm available to sell out. If anybody listening might want to sponsor the after show, look at all of this and look at all of this real estate that could be available to you. You could have your logo all over this right now. Don't bend the knee. Look, Dozer, I know. It just sucks. This sucks. I will say I don't want to stay. I don't want to get too much into it, but there definitely feels like there's this void between the real media that's so big they can afford to pay for photographers and videographers and all of that. And then there's like the outlaw media of like all of the clickbait news and stuff like that that will happily steal any footage they can find, don't care about it, don't credit anybody, block you on Instagram. And then like when you're in the middle, it's hard to, because that's where I feel like I am, where I'm not stooping to those levels, but I don't have this figured out yet. I don't have people's phone numbers. You know what I mean? Like I can't just be like, hey, Jet Lawrence. Like I don't have that. It's so hard being in the middle because I feel like I have to play by the rules, but I also I don't have the benefits of the people playing by the rules, if that makes sense. So Dylan said, find me at ATL. We can talk. I'm a new business owner. I would love to. I don't know if I'm going to Atlanta, but we will try. We'll see what we can do. Aaron said, do you think with guys like A-Ray speaking out against security at Oakland, do you think they'll come back? I heard, Aaron, that Oakland is already off the schedule next year. I heard that we're going to go to San Francisco next year, which is amazing because that's a beautiful ballpark, like baseball. I hope that's what happens. I don't know if it will, but that would be really cool. I don't think anybody likes going to Oakland. I think the reason Oakland is on the schedule is simply because it's cheap. If I'm being honest. Like Oakland isn't exactly charging a lot of money. They'll take anything they can get. They might actually pay you to hold events there so that people do not forget about the stadium. But I'm not sure. Tim said, I'm a Patreon member. That's kind of a sponsor. I appreciate you, Tim. Yeah, if anybody doesn't know, I do have a Patreon. Because I do these for free. I don't make any money at all to do these after shows with you guys. I stay up way too late to do them. I know that he's out right now, but I do have a Mooskin jersey to give away for this month of February. So if you sign up in the next 3 or 4 days, you're entered to win that one. I don't know whose jersey or number plate or what I'm going to have for you guys in March because I'm actually... I haven't been able to go to a race this year. O'Neill sent me these, so I have them, and I have I've talked to people that said yes, they'll be able to help me out with some stuff, but I don't have it yet, so I don't want to promise something until I have it. So I will let you know. I will let you know. That's what I'm getting at. I will let you know what I have for March. San Francisco is like walking to... I know. That's the thing that's funny about it, is it's pretty much the same place. Doug said, are they ever going back to Vegas? So, Doug, I can't say never, because I know the series does want to go back to Vegas, including Monster Jam. Like, Feld does want to go back to Vegas, but from what I've gathered, the problem is Sam Boyd Stadium has been shut down. That's why in 2020, before the pandemic happened, Vegas wasn't going to be the finale. They had to move Vegas up because the stadium was like ceasing operations on like August 30th or I'm sorry, April 30th. So that's why they put Vegas on like April 28th, and then they put Salt Lake in May, right? I don't know if it's a cost issue, or I don't know if it's they just don't want the dirt and the fumes and all of that goes along with it. But either way, Feld has not been able to get a deal done with the owners of the I don't know the name of it, the Raider Stadium. I'm not sure what the name is. So, and with that being said, I think Supercross feels like they owe a little bit of a debt to Salt Lake, because they bailed them out in 2020 by saying, you guys can do all of your races here and we will go out of our way to make it possible for you to do so. So with that being said, I think that they do feel like they kind of owe Utah, and that's valid. That's 100% valid. And I respect Feld for honoring that, if nothing else. Does that make sense? The owners of the new stadium in Vegas don't want Supercross Monster Trucks. Yep, Sim's got it. T said more NASCAR tracks like Atlanta would be cool. I don't want too many though, because T, we already have now Z-Max drag strip, which I know isn't quite NASCAR, but like now we have Chicagoland and Z-Max in the SMX. I don't want to have too many Supercross tracks be that format. I really like the stadium vibe. So I don't mind having Daytona and Atlanta, and then having Z-Max and Chicagoland later at the year. I think that's a good balance, if you will. Aaron said it's weird not having St. Louis or Vegas on the schedule. It is really weird. It definitely feels like an end of an era. I don't know what they're doing. I know the reason that, let's be honest, it's kind of money. I know the reason that they canceled Minnesota was because they can't do FanFest in Minnesota because the weather is bad every time, so they just don't even try. But with that being said, they leave Detroit on the schedule when Detroit also can't do FanFest because there's just nowhere to have it. If you guys have been to Detroit, there's just nowhere to have it. They literally have the semi-trucks parked in like an alley. Like, they just close down a street and park the semis on it. All of the small teams and privateers actually pit inside the building in a very small area where they pretty much just have little stalls. So we'll see what they can do there. But yeah, them moving St. Louis, I think that the plan was to alternate St. Louis and Nashville every other year. So hopefully, if that's true, we get St. Louis again next year, because I really like St. Louis. The indoor pits is incredible. Let's be honest. Lucky Faircat said, excited for the drag strip, but afraid Chicago will be worse than Daytona from spectator perspective. It will be interesting. Yeah, Z-Max is Charlotte. Sorry, I'm a car guy, so I know Z-Max from car things. Like, Z-Max is a really prestigious drag strip. It's a 4-lane drag strip. So, like, I know where Z-Max is. I forget that not everybody knows where Z-Max is. I hate that Indy and Detroit are back-to-back. Jarrett, yeah, I will say, though, I understand. Like, that's obviously good for all the teams and semis. They only have to drive 3 hours from one to the next. But it definitely does kind of suck that I'm going to hit 2 races in a row and then take another break, you know? Dylan said, you may be late, but the comment isn't. K-Rock needs a dub soon. I may be late. I'm not late. You're late. You're not wrong. I just don't know if he's there at this point in his career with the bike setup, etc. I would love nothing more. Like RM Army, you know, but I would love nothing more than Roczen to put Suzuki on the top of the step. I think that'd be incredible. For him, it'd be incredible for the brand. It could maybe jumpstart Suzuki putting money back into the sport. I don't know. But probably won't. It's fun to think about, but it probably won't. But yeah, I don't right now think. Beginning of the season, I was like, yeah, sure, I think you get a win. Now, I don't think so. You know what I mean? What kind of car do you have? I just got it last year. I have a BMW M235. It's the least exciting car that I've probably owned since I'm an adult, but it's practical. It's 350. I don't want to lie to you. 332 horsepower, I think. All-wheel drive. It's fun. It's a fun little car. I had a 370Z before that, and then I had an Integra Type R before that. But I don't have as much time / disposable income anymore to dump into cars as I used to. It used to be a pretty big part of my life. I think tonight was Kenny's last chance for this year. I will say I would not be surprised to see Kenny win a Triple Crown. I think he can win a Triple Crown race. I don't think that'd be that out of the question. Enough stuff goes right. There are guys that aren't pushing too much, but I definitely don't expect it. You know what I mean? Aaron said racing Supercross and motorsport venues are great, whether it's Daytona or ZMAX or old straight rhythm days on the drag strip. You're not wrong, for sure. Did you get the blinker subscription? I know. Luckily, I got one old enough two-stroke that no subscriptions. I own it all. I own it all. Kenny has the yeah. So Corey, Kenny is apparently, from what I've been told, it's gonna be his call if he wants to race outdoor or World Supercross when that time comes around, and he might even be able to do a little bit of both. It's more which one is he gonna commit to. I think right now I would expect him to go World Supercross. I think he was going to go outdoor if he thought he could be competitive and compete for race wins. Maybe not a title, but at least individual race wins. And where he's at right now, I just don't see him winning any races outdoor. Maybe not any, but I don't see him being like competitive consistently. You know what I mean? Like I see him being more of what we saw from Dungey last year than I do what we even saw from Roczen last year. So I would expect to see him World Supercross, but even if he does do World, I bet he still races some outdoors, just not the whole series, you know? Steve said Kenny can be on the box at the Speedways. I would love to see that, and maybe next week could be the thing. Remember, it wasn't that long. Was it 2020 that he and Tomac came into Daytona, like practically tied or maybe tied in points, and they had a dogfight to the end? Like, I would love to see that out of Kenny this weekend. That'd be incredible. Next Triple Crown, it's going to be a minute. I think this year we have 2 East Coast Triple Crowns. Normally it's been 2 West Coast, but I think this time it's 2 East. Is it Meadowlands maybe? No, it's West. Okay, it's West. It's Glendale. Glendale's also a Triple Crown. I was thinking we had 2 on the East for some reason this year. Oh no, this year we have more East races than West. That's what's different. T. Anthony said, I think Suzuki may work better outdoors than in Supercross. I agree. I mean, let's be honest. We saw it look good. Like, we saw outdoors, because let's be honest, it's the same bike. We've seen Freddie Norn be really, really competitive on that JGR. We saw Anstey be really good on the AGP bike. We saw Bogle do well at times. We've seen, like, it definitely can work. We've seen people do well on it. So, I agree with you. Dylan said Kenny is World Supercross because no one else is. I know a Kenny fan, but he can't beat the top 3 sadly. Oh, and that's fair. I mean, to be fair, who can? It's not very many people. You know what I mean? Amar, yeah, Amar. There you go. Amar did well too. Kurt said, just got back to the hotel. What did I miss? Everything, Kurt. You're late. How dare you? Lucky said, what are your thoughts about more Triple Crowns for 450s without heat races? No, I just don't like the Triple Crowns. It just makes the first 2 races too meaningless. Again, imagine the scenario. Wipe out the first 2 races, okay? I know it doesn't work like that, but wipe out the first 2 races tonight. Imagine that the 3rd race of the night, that last main, was the main, the real actual main, right? That means then that Webb wins, Sexton gets 2nd, Tomac gets 6th. That would give 21, 19, 18, 17. That means that Cooper makes up 9 points on Eli and Sexton makes up 6. How does that change the title? Like, it just, Triple Crowns give us really incredible moments of racing, but as a whole on the night, since everything kind of like goes back to the median, it just kind of makes it where it doesn't. I wish that it was like, oh no, like imagine Hunter Lawrence having to charge back through the pack to hold on to the red plate, but instead you're like, he only has to get up to like, I don't know, 6th this or so, and he'll be fine. Like, it's just hard. Watching it, again, individual races, they seem good. But like as a whole, as far as title implications go, I don't like them as much. Triple Crowns were good. Yes, exactly, Aaron. Triple Crowns were good in an exhibition sense like Monster Cup. And like somebody said earlier, I would not mind if all 3 of the SMX rounds were Triple Crowns. I would not mind that at all. Because why not, right? We already have the idea that it's supposed to be a indoor-outdoor hybrid. And what is more indoor-outdoor hybrid than a Triple Crown? Because that would, outdoor always has 2 motos and Supercross sometimes has 3, so just make those all 3, and that also gets in that consistency, which is so big for outdoors. I don't know. I would really like that, but we'll see. Leadhead said, yeah, from last to 8th. He's done that a couple times this year. Right. No, yeah, good point, Jeff. No lights on the leader's forks tonight. I wonder if maybe the people they tested it on, because last week they had it on J-Mart's bike, and he wasn't in first, he was in second, but for some reason they had his lights on for a second. And again, maybe they were just literally being like, does the technology work? They could be stress testing it. It's still cool though. Yeah, AM, it sucks watching 3 races that don't matter. Imagine how excited we would have been if Jeremy Martin would have won tonight. But instead you just look up and you're like, oh cool, Jeremy's in the lead. Good for him. That's neat. Good for PulpMX. That's cool. Cool. Nice guys. We should be excited. We should be so excited for them, Aaron said, well, SMX is an add-on series, so most are treating it like an exhibition sense. That's true. It will be interesting to see how it works, though, Aaron, because I feel like we as fans aren't taking the SMX thing very seriously, but maybe once time comes, things will be different, and maybe the riders treat it differently because of the big payday at the end. You know what I mean? Lucky said, which race didn't matter? Just for example, Jeremy Martin's win doesn't matter because it's not a real win. He doesn't get paid like it's a win. He doesn't get points like it's a win. It doesn't matter. Hunter Lawrence charging through the pack at the end of that didn't matter because all he had to do was get, he went 136. So to beat Vial, who went 592, Jesus. Hunter Lawrence only needed to get like 12th to get 3rd. If he would have gotten, like, obviously, if he would have passed Jordan Smith, then he could have got 2nd. But yeah, so all of the passes Hunter made from 12th to 6th literally didn't affect anything at all. Oh, neat. Yeah, Coffee. He's just like, oh, cool. I didn't even know. Neat. That's cool. Dylan said, anyone gonna comment on Jet calling Thrasher an idiot? I got some slack on Twitter for defending him. He wasn't thinking because it was his brother, but they brought up his crash with Faulkner, which he hit a tough block. His crash with Faulkner, I don't know why everybody got... Dylan, I seriously... So, to not get auto-blocked by YouTube... I had to, like, to show his crash and to break it down last year for a video, I had to, like, kind of snip it every couple of seconds. I had to just jump, like, half a second of frames. And I didn't think anything of it because it doesn't really matter. Because also, to try to get around that, I like, zoom it in a little bit, too. So you can't even really see where he touched the tough block on Faulkner's crash. But I had people being like, oh... typical trying to spin a narrative where you cut where he touches the tough block, and I'm like, what are you talking about? It happens. Like there's a difference between somebody coming over, drifting, and cross jumping. Like there's drifting and there's cross jumping. One of them you clearly know there's a difference. And I'm not saying that Thrasher didn't, because I need to go back and rewatch it. You guys have probably seen it more times than I have, and I don't like making a judgment until I've been able to like actually watch it multiple times. But like, it happens. Stuff happens. These tracks are disgusting. I don't know. Don't even know how they ride them, if I'm being honest. Like, you could put me out there on an 80 and I would die, let alone what they do. So it's hard for me to judge those moments in those ruts. And if any of you guys ever get a chance to do the track walk, however much it costs, you think you know what those ruts look like, but you don't. Like, oh, man, like, you gotta actually put your leg in one. It's disgusting. Jet called Thrasher an idiot, and Jet backtracked pretty quickly after you saw the replay. Yeah, I was gonna say I'll have to go back and listen to it, but I don't know. I appreciate that Jet, even being the younger and, dare I say, more successful, because let's be honest, he's the one with all the titles, he's still very protective and very loyal to his brother. And I think that just speaks so much to his character, that he doesn't have to, that he still, like, he doesn't need to do that. He doesn't need to be that. But he still is out there kind of being like, you know, a very protective younger brother. It's a really weird thing to say that we don't see that all the time. Like, he just does really good. Jed calls everyone an idiot. It's how he talks. God. The ruts can only be foot peg deep. Yeah, whatever you say, Michael. You gotta go down there. You just go down there and find out. Lucky said, I really respected Jet putting the responsibility to be better in his brother's situations. I could totally understand it if he was more defensive. Yeah, for sure. Dozer said it's the most one-line part of the track. Oh, the over-under. That's fair. Trust me, though, like, you'd be surprised. Aaron said, I've seen them in person. Those ruts will grab you like an abuse effects. It's legitimately, it's ridiculous. And the whoops are so big in person. Like, I got to go down and do, I did the VIP experience in 2019, I think it was, where, you know, they pretty much gave us a pass to go wherever we wanted. We got to do the track walk. We got to be in the pits the whole day. We got to go to industry seating. We went up to the press booth. I don't think we were supposed to go up there, but nobody stopped us. And going down and walking on that track, it literally changed everything I thought I knew about the sport, if I'm being honest. DB told the podium that the third race is all that really matters. It's true, though. Again, it just sucks and again, going back to it, other than the dynamic that you can't even get excited about the results of race 1 or race 2, because none of it matters until we get to race 3. But on top of that, race 3 being the tiebreaker race, it's legitimate. It legitimately means that the third race is significantly more important than the other two, and that just hurts. It sucks. Brandon asked, does Chase pull it together next weekend? Yeah, tonight was, I mean, to be fair, he did wreck. But he should have. It just, you know what? And I just, this goes back to last year. This year, Eli Tomac has made 3 mistakes. In 7 rounds, Eli has made 3 mistakes. That's not a ton, but that's more than Eli makes. And Chase has been able to capitalize on 0 of them. You know? Like, Eli messed up in the Triple Crown. The first Triple Crown got, 13th, I think, in the last race. And it didn't matter because it was a Triple Crown. Eli didn't get punished like he should. A1, when Eli went down, Chase also went down. And then this one, when Eli threw it away, Chase had already thrown it away. And it just sucks. Like, he should be able to capitalize. I know that it's one of those that you could say, oh, but the lapper is why Cooper got around him. He should have never been in that position anyway. If he didn't go down earlier in the race, he wouldn't be in that position. It just sucks. It really sucks for Chase. And I'm not like a Chase super fan. I just love good racing, and I just want to see him do it. You know what I mean? Leadhead said, racing being boring back then, no one was really into it. I was the big time rode my bike everywhere. Hell yeah. Chase has lost a race every way possible. Aaron, true. He literally, it's heartbreaking to watch how many different ways he can find to lose a race. You know what I mean? Dylan said, honestly, this is my first after race, and it's awesome how much interaction you have with the comment section. I love it. I'm a fan, and will be on Patreon. I appreciate it, Dylan. Yeah, I just think this is really fun. I know a lot of people do like the show where they have somebody come on and talk like Pulp and stuff, but why not have, like, I have all the guests I need right here, you know? I would like to bring some people on to try it out. We had Dirty Al on last week, and it was a lot of fun, but I noticed that was one thing that when I was still a fan, I wish there was more accessibility to the media. Like, you can tweet at Steve and Weege and them, and they can't possibly answer to every message. It's just not possible. I've seen some of the things that come through, because I run the social media for like the Pulp Show. Like, I see some of the things that come through there. There's a reason why they can't respond to everything, because a lot of it's not worth, like, not worthy of a response. Some of it's really bad. But I don't know. It's a lot of fun. I like hanging out with you guys. Two Stroke said Webb is the most consistent and takes advantage behind chasing mistakes. Yeah. Feels a little Dungy-like, doesn't it, Stroke? Like, it feels a little bit like Stewart and young Eli, maybe? Would that be fair in saying? But Dungy just kept getting it done, because maybe not young Eli, maybe young Roczen more than young Eli, but you know what I mean. Webb just keeps finding himself in the right places, and that could lead to a title. Ross said, imagine how angry Matt would be getting if he interacted with commenters. No way. Absolutely not. Could not do it. Webb is way more entertaining than Dungy. I'm not going to lie to you. I was not really a big Dungy fan when he was racing, but I definitely appreciated him a lot more after coming back last year. It was fun. It was fun, for sure. Aaron said Webb is just a tractor, not flashy, but gets the work done. You know what? That's a good point, No Control. Dungy just let it come to him. Webb is a predator. That is fair. That is fair. I don't have any argument against that. That is absolutely valid, for sure. Tim asks, is Chase the new JS7, super fast and or crash? Do you remember when Chase moved up to the 450 class for the first year? He actually was being trained by Stu. It was a very short-lived relationship for whatever reason, but I mean, there might be something there. Anyone notice how Webb tucks his ears in his hat? It couldn't be me. Can I just say, the only thing I can think of, because I can't tuck my ears in my hat, but I wear fitted hats. Almost all of my hats are fitted, so like, there's not any room. But do you think they like tucking their ears in because it reminds them of having a helmet on? Does that make sense? Like, for any of my guys that ride, I cannot get on a bike without a helmet. Even if I was riding a road bike or I was just riding on the parking lot. Like, I'm so used to having like my head and face smushed from the helmet that maybe it's one of those where they just feel more comfortable with their ears being pressed against. Or maybe from when they were kids and they had to wear hats from their sponsors that were way too big for them because they don't make hats for kids or whatever. So that was the only way that they could get them to sort of stay on their head. I don't know. Can you look up the PMMC 24-hour challenge? I have no idea what that is, Dylan. But I do have the Patreon link saved, so I can get you that. Can I pin it? I think I can pin it too. I can pin it. There you go. I pin it. I think they're just giving new hats right off the bike that don't fit right, and they get used to it. That's what I'm saying. Like, and don't get me wrong, I still hate it, and I wish they wouldn't do it. But, you know, what do I know? Dozer said, did we see a Sexton aggressor berth? Sort of took it. He looked great. Yeah, he looked great, and the way he got around Barsha was incredible, because he thought he got around Barsha, and Barsha said absolutely not. But then very next corner, set him up, took him wide, did it exactly how he has to do it. He did it how Anderson was trying to do it, I feel like, when Anderson and Barsha both went down a couple weeks ago. Textbook. Love to see it. That's what makes the difference, I think, is Sexton is the real deal, because if you can pass, catch, battle, pass Barsha without going down, deal with his retaliation, and then get him back and scoot. That's what it takes to make it. And I don't know. I think I really liked having Freeze in the 250 class last year, because he really showed the difference between Craig, the Coopers, etc. Guys that could, Hunter Lawrence, for example, where they could catch Freeze and figure out a way to get by him quickly and scoot, versus, with all due respect, because I love Joe Shimoda, Joe caught freeze one week and he just didn't know what to do. He was too timid with Vince because he knew what, it was kind of like a drunk driver swerving on the road. You need to get around him, but you don't want to get around him. So I think that's a good measure of a good rider, is how you can deal with those guys, Sleep outside, good question. What's up with Mosman? He has to be hurt. He has to, right? There's just no way that Mosman all of a sudden has regressed this far in the class. He went 7-6-7 tonight. And I know he had the fall under the bridge, but that's no excuse for the other two results, When is Joe? Andre, I haven't heard anything. I'll definitely let you know if I hear anything, though. Leadhead said, Ando just loves giving it back to Barsha, and I'm glad someone's willing to. Same. You're like, oh no, oh, so sad, but it's fun. Always hoping to hear about Joe, too. Hopefully he'll be back soon. Like I said, once I get to start going to the races and stuff, I just don't want to bug people. Maybe one day when I get to be real media, I won't be afraid to bug people. But like where I'm at now, I don't even want to bug other media people. Like I know I could probably text Steve and say, hey, what's up with so-and-so off the record? And he would tell me, but I just don't want to bother people. Adam said, in my opinion, it was good for Deegan to have a bad race. You know what, Adam? That's a good point. Yeah, to show a little adversity. That first race was rough. Luckily, he went down in a way. He almost saved it, too. He went down in a way that wasn't painful, got back up, circulated the laps, and then he logged 2 more top 5s to close the night. I'm just excited. Also, by the way, because somebody asked earlier, Blos went 8-8-8 for 9th overall. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. But Deegan's the real deal, man. And I want to say I hate to say it, because I don't hate to say it. I'm not rooting against Deegan. But I don't know. We're getting what we were promised, right? Like, he was promised to be the phenom, and so far he is. And honestly, an 8th is a bad night. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, 8th overall is good. Where did Hymas? Oh, that's right. Hymas he had one in the final that kept him out. He went 9-7-16. Word on the street is Hymas is racing Daytona, and then he's out for the rest of he's not going to keep racing Supercross. They want to get him ready for outdoors. So I've heard that he's going to race Daytona and pull out. But if he's doing really well, maybe they'll keep him in. Aaron said, most important part of journalism is building connections with Don, Anton, Weege, and Michael. For sure. And Aaron, and I have, I have a good relationship with Anton and Weege. I haven't ever spoken with Don, and I don't think Michael likes me much, but I don't think he dislikes me. I just don't think he, we don't have maybe he's not interested. Maybe he's just not interested. We'll get there. We'll get there when it's time. Lucky said, did anyone else flip on how short Deegan looked trying to get back on his bike? Yeah, well, they all are, man. Was it little troll train on his extra big 450? Brandon said Kellen is taking over Ouija's spot. He is. I mean, not like internally. I don't know that, but yeah, he is. He does great. I think Kellen is cut from the same mold as Ouija. He's a very professional first, no nonsense kind of guy. And obviously he does the announcing for the esports, for the MX Sim esports program series, what have you. So he fits right into that role. And it's really I enjoy working with them. I enjoy working with Kellen and Weege both. So but I agree. He's definitely filling in that thing. Michael, Anton is actually the first person that paid me any attention at all, and he has been nothing but great to me. So I will respectfully disagree. Isn't D hurt? Yeah, Ryder D is hurt. I haven't heard anything since his injury. He broke, was it his hand or his thumb or his wrist? He broke something, nothing bad, but they're just not in a hurry. Rightfully so, they're not in a hurry to get him back. Yeah, no updates. I was looking forward to seeing him race this year. I think he'll be back for before the end of the year. But I think he won't come back until we go east again, because we've got Daytona, Indy, Detroit, and then we'll do Seattle, Glendale. So maybe we'll see him at Atlanta April 15th. I would expect that to be the earliest. Patrick said Michael Antonovich is golden, great at his job, really like his content. And he's very talented too, and very nice. Like, again, he was welcomed me with open arms. He was actually the first person I ever interviewed that I put out for a podcast. Podcasts just really aren't my thing. I tried to podcast a little bit early, but I don't know. I'm a video guy. I guess I'm good at video. But he's very good. He's very nice. Again, like when I went to St. Louis, hit him up. He showed me around, was great. We went to dinner. He was really cool. Yeah, Andre, yes. So Ferrandis the plan is for him to return for Daytona. He's been on the bike for a couple days now. I don't say a couple weeks because I don't know that's true. He's been on the bike at least this week. I know that. So he'll be back. Nothing on Styles, Zaphod. No, I haven't heard anything. Aaron said, I'll say this, Moto has some of the greatest media people. And everybody plays the role, and I think that's what's really cool. I know Steve gets a lot of flack. A lot of people like to hate Steve, and that's fine. But he knows his role. Weege knows his role. They all play this character. And it's them, don't get me wrong. Like, I've talked to them off the record. I've talked to them in person. I've talked to them on the phone. Like, Weege is Weege. Steve is Steve. But they're turned up to like 130%. You know what I mean? Like, that's them to the max. I've been with JT too, and yeah, like they literally just crank up their character to be like this extra larger than life version of who they are in real life. And I think that's so cool. And I think the reason that, like, you know, the Pulp dynamic with Steve, Weege, JT, Kiefer, it feels like Top Gear. If any of my people watched the British Top Gear, like, you know, BBC Top Gear, it feels like that, where I fully believe that Jeremy Clarkson is like that in real life, but he just turns it up to 11 to play off of his buddies and stuff. And that's it. That's literally it, is that they're all more or less the exact same person in the booth or at home as they are on TV, just not as much. Which one is Jeremy? Lucky, I have to say Steve is Jeremy, because he's unapologetic. Even when he's wrong, he refuses to admit it. Like, he definitely gives me the Jeremy Clarkson vibes of just doing bonehead stuff and never apologizing. Never apologizing for it. So, Sleep ass, was Paul pretty much the pioneer of the MX podcast? I can't say that he started it. I can't say that he was the first one, but he definitely was the first one to be consistent about it, you know, and really build that show. I'm sure somebody else was the first podcast ever, but he was definitely the first one to really get traction with it, you know. Steve could have been nicer when I met him. Yeah, and that's the thing too, is that even when the first thing I did media-wise, I made a how to play PulpMX fantasy video. I did a here's how to pick A1. I did a here's how to pick St. Louis, and then I met Steve at St. Louis, and he was so cool to me. So he's always gone, I don't say gone out of his way, but he's always paid the attention to me that I thought I deserved, if that makes sense. Yeet said, are we all forgetting that Mosman broke his neck last year? Maybe it's mental stuff from that. That's fair, Yeet. That's fair. And and that's what I said. Like, I don't know if it's an injury type of issue, but it still just sucks, I think. I think it sucks that these guys aren't more transparent than they are, and I don't know if there's a reason why they do that, but I just don't know why they don't want to talk about what they're going through, because I think we would all appreciate that, and we would be supportive of them, instead of every night being like, what's going on with Mosman, man? And on top of that, I would love that story. I would love to know these people. There's a reason that we gravitate towards, you know, the ACs, or why maybe people didn't really like Eli Tomac that much before, where they just don't want to talk about stuff. And then when they do, like how much Eli has opened up in the last 2 years since he joined Star, everybody's like, wow, Eli Tomac's so cool. He's so open. He's so whatever. And he's not breaking any ground here. He's not telling you insider secrets. He's just being like human. He just feels human. And I appreciate that. Thrasher on a torn ACL was impressive. Did you see him, Adam? Did you see him grab his knee right as soon as he crossed the finish line? I was like, oh, he is in so much pain. I have a bum left knee, so I feel him. As soon. I was like, oh, buddy, poor guy. I feel you. Anything I do, my knee hurts from when I was younger. Like bowling, I tried to join a bowling league with some of my friends because I'm like, that's something that you can't get hurt in. All the torque on my knee, I would get about 2 of the 3 games in and be like, oh my God, my knee. Just that little bit of like, rotational force on it. I just don't think they're picked for stardom like in other pro racing. It's all about their grit and results. Yes and no, no control. I think that moto is a little behind the curve on some of the other sports. And some of you guys might like this, but I think as a whole it's bad. Where we are a little too results driven instead of appreciating personalities more. There's a reason that HEP kept 7 Deuce Deuce on the team as long as they did, knowing that he was way past, his racing prime, whatever that may be, because he's an incredible personality to be around. Bogle was the same way, like Justin Bogle I really enjoyed talking to him last year when I talked to him at St. Louis, and he was one of my favorite people to interact with. But like, obviously we know that Bogle's way past his. HEP could have had a better rider on their team. It could have even just been Chiz, but there's just something about those kind of guys. And I think that HEP focusing more on 7 Deuce Deuce, A-Ray, then going into Bogle, Max Anstey, etc. Like, that's why HEP eventually got the option to work with Twisted Tea and Progressive. That getting that relationship is what allowed them to sign Ken Roczen, is because they focused a little bit more on image and whatever, because they knew what's the difference. Sure, could they have had Chiz instead of Bogle? Sure. But does anybody care who got 15th or 18th? Like, if they're both going to be in that range, you might as well get the guy that's a little bit more. And I know we love privateers like Chiz. We love that kind of guy. But the general average fan is a little bit more in tune with the Bogles that have a little bit more personality, a little bit more social media following. You know what I mean? Lucky said, buy Jets and Donuts. He's in the booth, but not in the premier class. We are entering the age of marketability. Yeah. But we'll get there. He's this close to being in the premier class. No control. I'm glad those guys can stick around like Wilson, but it's results that sell bikes. But the problem is, no control, is that at this point, we have less and less factory than really ever. Like Yamaha technically doesn't have a factory team anymore. Like, I don't think the manufacturers really move the bikes as much as you think they did. Look at Geico. Look at that. Their main sponsor pulled and the entire team shut down. And that is a factory. That was a factory level team. And they shut down because Geico pulled out. So I know that you might think, oh, selling bikes is the be all end all, but not if they don't have the marketability as well. And obviously, I know that was a little bit of an extreme example because 2020, COVID, et cetera, but like same with Rocky Mountain, they pulled out and Butler Brothers ceased. Lucky said, love how some of the privateers are so well funded. Want to see privateer donuts instead? Yeah. When are we going to stop calling it social media marketing and just call it marketing? Like, at this point, that's 90% of the marketing is social media. You know what I mean? Dylan said, I got a bad rotator cuff and do construction when I'm lifting over my head a lot. Can I afford to take off and get it fixed, or does my wife and kids need to eat? There's that. He'll take the time. I think the thing is that if Thrasher wasn't technically still in the title hunt, maybe he would take the time to go get it fixed. But right now, he's the one. Like, if Hunter makes a mistake on a similar level to Thrasher's opening round, it is wide open again. Like, I think Thrasher, despite being 16 points down, I think Thrasher is Hunter's biggest threat right now. I wonder if they will have Thrasher sit out. Adam, it might depend on Yeah, because if they're having Justin Cooper race outdoors, I was going to say it might depend on if they think they have a chance at a title or not. If they think Thrasher could maybe compete for a title and he's willing to race with the torn knee, they do it. But if he's not, or if he has one more bad race indoors, I bet they sit him down. Led said 12:23, same. Yeah, I'm in Ohio, so same. I appreciate you hanging out, Led. I'm actually gonna bail too. It is 12:25. This is what happens every time. I told the wife. I said, Triple Crown rounds might be a short one. We'll probably have a short one tonight, and then we went 25 minutes over budget. I need to get back to keeping it an hour consistently. But I appreciate you guys coming out with me and doing this. Again, link is at the top of chat. Is it over here? It's right here somewhere. I don't know if you're on your phone. I don't know where it goes. Hit the like button if you would. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. If you want to check out Patreon, I really appreciate it. I'll give away the Marv jersey on the live show next weekend. And somebody asked if I'm going to be doing them. I don't know. I'll definitely do Daytona because I won't be at the races, but then I will be at Indy. I will be at Detroit. So I would like to do the after show, but it depends on the service that I get from there. If Feld wants me to do that, where I can do it, etc., etc. So that might be a little bit of a mixed bag, and I'll let you guys know if that's something we can do. But either way, thank you so much for hanging out. Thanks for playing fantasy. Thanks for supporting Pulp, Racer X, Roto, all that stuff. Be good people. Have a good rest of your weekend.